Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well and safe. So as usual, before we start the new lesson, we are going to review what we have learned from the last lesson. So let's have a look on a very important vocabulary, 包括. 包括, it means to include. As we have already learned, it has two usages. The first one, 包括 can be used to indicate something contains different components. For example, language learning includes four parts: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So you can say 语言学习包括听、说、读、写四个部分。So here, actually, it means that the language learning, it contains something. So we use 包括 here. And the second part is 包括 can be used to stress a special part of something. For example, 我们班所有人，包括平时不运动的人，都参加了这次运动会。Everyone in our class, including those who do not usually exercise, participated in this sports meeting. So here, when you're using including those who do not usually exercise, it is firstly to use it to say that these people are included in the everyone who have participated to this sports meeting. And the second usage is that you are using it to stress that even those who do not usually exercise, they even go to the sports meeting. So this is the second usage of 包括. And maybe some of you have already doubts about what the differences between 包含 and 包括. And to make it clear, we can imagine we have A, B, C, three circles. So, if circle A and B are inside the C circle, we can say that C 包含 A and B, but the circle A and B don't necessarily be the component of C. Another case will be if A and B circles are not inside the C circle, but they all belong to C. So we can say that C 包括 A and B, and in this case, A and B are the components of C. Maybe it's a little bit difficult for you to understand like this, but thinking of if you are using 包含, it's more like a numerical relations, and you are talking about the like a bigger group contains several small groups, and you are going to use 包含. But when you are saying 包括, you are really reinforcing the belonging the belonging relationship between something. For example, A belongs to C. So you can say C 包括 A. So as I listed here, 包含 cannot be used to highlight the role of a special component. And 包括 can be used to stress a special part of something. So these are the two major differences between these words. I know it might be still difficult for you to understand the differences between all these words, so we are going to do some exercise. Firstly, let me give you some examples. 你的房费不包含早餐. Your rent doesn't include breakfast. So here breakfast can be contained or not in the rent, but it is not a component of the rent. It means like in the rent, it can include several items, and breakfast can be one of these items. But breakfast doesn't make up the rent. It's not a component of the rent. However, 你的房费包括电费、水费和燃气费. Your rent includes fares for electricity, water, and gas. So here, fares for electricity, water, and gas are different components of the rent. In this case, you are going to use 包括. Another example can be 这张票包含了所有的活动. This ticket includes all activities. So here, activities can be included or contained in the ticket, but they are not the components of a ticket. They are just items included in this ticket, but they don't make up the ticket. However, 我很喜欢这张票，包括这张票上的图案和设计风格。I like this ticket very much, including the pattern and the design style on this ticket. So here, the pattern and design style are different components of the tickets. So you can say 包括 instead of 包含 in this case. So I hope it makes much more sense to you. You are going to do several exercises here. So judge whether the words are used properly and correctly, and correct the wrong ones. First one, 苹果公司的产品包含 iPhone、iPad 等。Is it correct or not? Yeah, it's wrong because here iPhone and iPad they are components of the products of Apple. So you cannot use 包含, you have to use 包括. The second one, 世界上使用的语言主要包括英语、汉语等。So the languages we use in the world nowadays, including majorly the English and Chinese. Is it correct? Yes, this is correct because English and Chinese they are both the languages that we are still speaking and we are still using. So there are some components of the previous part, which is 世界上使用的语言. So we are going to use 包括 in this case. The third one, 电脑上的主要软件包含 Word 和 Excel. So the major softwares on the computer include Word and Excel. Should we use 包含 or should we use 包括? Yes, here we still need to use 包括 because Word and Excel, these are the two applications that these are the two softwares that are still being used on a computer and which belongs to 电脑上的主要软件. So we are going to use 包括. The last one. 他会说很多语言，包含汉语和英语。He speaks many languages, including Chinese and English. Yeah, as you may already notice, here we need to use 包括 instead of 包含 because 汉语 and 英语, Chinese and English, these are both languages that belong to 他会说很多语言 belong to the group. Like he speaks many languages, they are the components. So we are going to use 包括. And some other exercise concerning this. Choose proper words to fill in the blanks. 图书馆里的书英文的和汉语的. So the books in the library include those in English and those in Chinese. We are going to use Yes, we are going to use 包括 because books in English and books in Chinese are all components of the books in the library. Second one, 我要在昆明住5天，不，今天。I will live in Kunming for 5 days, not including today. Which one are you going to use? Yes, 包括 as well. Even though it's not included in the 5 days I'm going to stay, but 今天 is still considered as a day and it still belongs to the period that I'm going to stay in Kunming. So here we are going to use 包括 instead of 包含 because we are not going to talk about a numerical relationships. The third one, 老师说的所有人，不，小孩。So everybody that teacher mentioned does include or not include the children? Yes, we are going to use 包括 because 小孩 they are a social group of everyone. They are a social group of 所有人. So we are going to use 包括. The fourth one, 今天所有的老师都去吃火锅了。黄老师. So every teacher today they went to eat hot pot, including teacher Huang. Yeah, we are still going to use 包括. And here, as you may already notice, this is using the second usage of 包括. It means maybe before 黄老师 he or she doesn't like to eat hot pot, but today every teacher they want to eat hot pot, including 黄老师, even teacher Huang, he or she went to the hot pot as well. So here we are going to use 包括 because 黄老师 belongs to the group of 所有的老师. And the fifth one, 这封信，这爸爸对他的期待。We are going to use I hope you make it correct. 包含 because here 这封信 is this letter. 期待 is expectation, and a letter can contain an expectation, but an expectation is not a component of a letter. It cannot mix up a letter. So we are going to use 包含 in this case. With these examples and exercise, I hope you already understand the differences between 包含 and 包括. So 包含 is more talking about numerical relationships, and the A and B are not necessarily belonging to the group C. However, when you're talking about 包括, the A and B should belong to the group C. And when you are using 包括, you are stressing the part that is included as well. So these are the major differences. And then we are going to do a quick summary of the because we have already met this character for a very long time. I don't think you have an overview of this character, but it's very, very useful for us. So we are going to do a short summary of it. So 的, firstly, it can be used after an attribute 定语, and it indicates that the previous word has possession of the next one. It functions like apostrophe s in English, or like the word of, but with the position of possessor and possessee switched. For example, 我的书, 我的书. So here it indicates the possession of the book, which is mine. So it is my book, my book. So the possessor is before the, and the possessee is 书 here, the book. So it's 我的书, my book. 这本书是老王的. This book is Wang's. 别开他的玩笑了. Don't make fun of him. Don't make fun of him. And the second usage is to link a noun and an adjective or a phrase to a noun to describe it. So basically you have a noun, and then before the noun, you need to use the, and before the, you need to give an attribute. For example, a red balloon. Red is to describe balloon. So 红色的气球, a red balloon. 铁的纪律, iron discipline, which means strict disciplines. 去北京的火车, the train that goes to Beijing. So here you see that it is a phrase, but in Chinese we tend to make it as a vocabulary using the, so it's 去北京的火车. 昨天来的人, the people who came yesterday. 昨天来的人, so it functions like that. you just put all those describing part before the people. So 昨天来的人. And the third usage of the is to form a noun phrase or nominal expression. For example, 我爱吃辣的,我爱吃辣的. So basically, 辣 is an adjective. It means spicy. 我爱吃辣. It means like I like to eat spicy, but normally it should be 我爱吃辣的食物, right? I like to eat spicy food. But you can use the after 辣, which can make the adjective 辣 spicy into a noun, which is spicy food. So 我爱吃辣的 it equals I like hot food, I like spicy food. 菊花开了，有红的，有黄的. So the chrysanthemums are in bloom. Some are red, some are yellow. 有红的，有红的. There you have some red chrysanthemums and you have some yellow chrysanthemums. But to avoid the repetitions, we tend to give the after the adjective to make this adjective into a noun. So 红的, in this context, it will mean like you have the red flower and you have 黄的 yellow flowers. 他说他的，我干我的。他说他的 So actually 他说他的什么呢？他说他的话，对不对？ He says what he likes. In English you have what he likes, but in Chinese you tend to use the after 他, which is a pronoun, and makes it into a noun phrase. What he likes. 他说他的 and 我干我的 I'll just do what I want. The fourth one, 火车上看书的看书，聊天的聊天. So here, 看书, it is an action which is reading a book. But when you're adding the, you are making this action into a noun. So those people who are reading a book, this is what it refers to. On the train, some people were reading. And 聊天的聊天, so those who are chatting are chatting. Some were chatting. The fourth one, the can be used after a verb or between a verb and its object to stress an element of the sentence. It can be used with 是 to surround the stressed element. For example, 谁买的? 谁买的? Who bought it? So here you are using the to stress the question who actually bought it. 你嗓子怎么哑了？唱的 Why are you so hoarse? From singing. So here, the is to stress that it is because I sang a lot that I hoarse today. 是我打的稿子，他上的色. So here, with 是, it is used to stress. It's me, it was me who do that. It was I who worked up the stretch, and he who filled in the colors. 他上的色. 他是昨天进的城. So here after 是 it is 昨天. So with 是 the here is to stress 昨天. It was yesterday he went to the town. I hope it is clear to you. So you need to always put the after the verb or the adjective, but the part it is stressing is either the verb before it, or if you have a 是, it is stressing the part after 是, and before the verb or before the adjective. And finally, the can be used at the end of a declarative sentence for emphasis. For example, 你们这两天真够辛苦的. You've been really working hard the past few days. So here is a declarative sentence to say that you work hard, and if you plus the at the end of the sentence, it is to emphasize you are really working hard. 这个房子装修的挺好的. This house is well renovated. So again, you are using the to say, yeah, it is not only renovated, but it's well renovated. And at the end of the overview of today, maybe it's a little bit complex, but I think little by little we can overcome this because I think we need to learn some of the basic grammar of Chinese. And today we are going to talk about the characteristics or property of a certain word, which is 词性 in Chinese. So 词性 is the characteristic or property of a certain word by which one can determine what part of speech the word belongs to. So modern Chinese parts of speech are divided into 4 categories: content words, function words, interjections, and onomatopoeias. But for us, the most important are the first two, content words and function words, because these are the basic components of a whole sentence. So for content words, it means words with actual meaning that can serve as sentence components independently, and they have both lexical and grammatical meaning. It includes nominal words such as nouns, 名词, numerals, 数词, and classifiers, 量词. It also includes predicts such as verbs, 动词, and adjectives, 形容词. It also includes adverbs, 副词, and pronouns, 代词. So all these words, these are content words, which are nouns, numerals, classifiers, verbs, adjectives, verbs, and pronouns, which are in total 7. And for the function words, these are the words that have no actual meaning, but they have grammatical meaning or function. They must be attached to content words or sentences to express grammatical meaning, and they cannot be used separately to form sentences or grammatical components. It includes relative words such as conjunctions, 连词, and prepositions, 介词, and auxiliary words, for example, particles, 助词, and modal particles, 语气词. So later on, while we are learning the text, I am going to say, so this is a noun, this is an adjective, this is a conjunction, this is a preposition, this is a particle. You need to already sort it out like it belongs to content words or it belongs to function words. 那你们就要注意到它是包括在实词里面还是被包括在虚词里面，这样的话才有助于你们更好的理解一个词的词性 so that you can better understand the characteristic of this word and later on to analyze which part it is being used in a sentence is to describe a noun or it is to describe an adjective, and it should play which role in a sentence. So all these questions and analysis, they are based on this 词性. So try to understand all these words, and later on when you're learning new vocabularies, try to memorize the 词性 of different words as well. So I'm going to meet you in the next lesson.